Do you know what day it is? I'm not asking, do you know what day of the week it is? That's posted below this video. I'm saying, do you know what time it is in God's plan of redemption? I'm Caleb Abernathy. I'm one of the pastors at Christ Memorial Church. And today we're looking at the prophecies of the prophet Joel, a guy about whom we know very little, except that he seems to have prophesied to the southern kingdom of Judah, near to their exile at the hand of the Babylonians. And Joel prophesies much about this impending judgment, and he calls it the day of the Lord. The nation had apparently just come through a plague of locusts. We see that in chapter 1. And he warns of a coming day of the Lord in which another horde will come in judgment, but not locusts, an invading army. And he's calling on the nation of Judah to repent before this day of the Lord comes. That's much of chapters 1 and 2. But he also tells them that the day of the Lord will be a day of blessing after judgment. Listen as I read from chapter 2, verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions, even on the male and female servants. In those days I will pour out my spirit. He goes on in verse 32. And it shall come to pass that everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. So the day of the Lord is a time of judgment, but it's also a time of revival as God graciously pours out his Spirit on all of his people, young and old, great and small, so that anyone who calls on the name of the Lord through their prophetic ministry is saved. And this day of the Lord, this time of judgment and blessing, it's not far off. It has arrived in Jesus Christ. On the day of Pentecost, after the Spirit is poured out, Peter stands up and quotes this exact text to explain what's happening. And that's because the judgment for sin promised on the day of the Lord came not just in Judah's exile, but when judgment was poured out on Jesus Christ on the cross. And the renewal promised by Joel and the outpouring of the Spirit is what Jesus did for his people on Pentecost. So even as we await Jesus' second coming and the end of this day, we know what day it is. It's the day of the Lord. A day when those who believed in Jesus are given the Spirit and empowered to proclaim him to all those around him, so that whoever calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. That's what day it is. So let's get busy about that work.